I think this page should be refreshed. The web page now have the link to the slides of my sessions, of my presentation. No. Okay. Can I have my slide to present? All right. Welcome back, everyone. This is the morning second session of the APNIC member meeting. The second session begins with my report to you from the APNIC Executive Council. No. Here's a list of the APNIC Executive Council members, and as you see, all members of the Executive Council present on the stage. I'd like to invite all of you to state your name and introduce yourself to our membership. So I'd like to have it begin with Gaurav. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Gaurav Rajapade. I work for LiveNet Networks. I'm from Nepal, but I now live in Singapore. Been EC member for roughly 4 years now. Thank you very much.
Hi, good morning. My name is Ma Yan, working in Beijing University Post and Telecommunication, and serving as an APNIC. I would like to get more contact with all of you to really encourage our local contacts be leveraged and promoting the internet development in our region. Thank you.
I'm Chiu Cheng. I'm working for the Chinese University of Hong Kong. I'm also in charge of Hong Kong Internet Exchange, HKIX. So, in fact, I'm serving the whole region, not just for APNIC, but also for HKIX.
Hi, everyone. I'm Wendy Zhao, and working for China Internet Network Information Center, and I've been serving my second term of the EC member. And it's happy to having EC engagement cocktail on Wednesday, and I'm willing to know every one of you who would like to stay or contribute to more to this community. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kenny Huang, board member of APNIC. I'm from Taipei. I'm happy to meet everyone here in Brisbane. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. James Spensley. I'm the APNIC EC Treasurer. I think this is my 6th year on the APNIC EC. In my day job, I am the CEO of Vocus, the connectivity provider here for the conference. Yeah, I'd like to say hello and thank you all for attending today.
And I'm Paul. As the Director General of APNIC, I am also an ex officio full member of the APNIC EC. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. And my name is Maemura Akinori, the chair of the APNIC Executive Council. And I am employed by the JPNIC, one of the national internet registry under APNIC, as well as the internet promotion body within Japan, to do the technical and policy research on the internet, the internet promotion, like doing the event and doing the engagement, something like that. I am doing that. My responsibilities are not in our part, but the promotion side, but still I am doing the EC job. So, within this member, the Paul Wilson is the Director General of the APNIC Secretariat, and then he assumed the APNIC EC members' position as the ex officio. All right, and this slide shows you the functions of the APNIC Executive Council. Represent the interests of the members, oversight of the activities of APNIC, consider broad internet policies issue, to set the membership fees, to endorse the policy consensus toward the implementation, and we have the quarterly meetings face-to-face right now. Then EC meetings for 2014, we have 3 meetings. It's already long to have our Executive Council meeting from the monthly teleconference to the face-to-face quarterly meeting. Then we had a meeting, of course, in Putalinjaya, the previous meeting of the APNIC, and then we had another meeting in May in Warsaw during the RIPE 69 meeting, and then here in Brisbane, we spent Monday and Tuesday collectively 1 full day to discuss our business. Then all EC members have attended all these meetings. That's really good to see. And minutes, please visit www.apnic.net/EC, and you will have a full lineup of the information, including the minutes for the meetings. We are doing quite a range of the business in Executive Council. And within that, the current area of the particular focus is shown like this. The membership engagement, corporate governance, finances and fiscal objectives, fees and budgets, services and development activities, the strategic planning, internet governance, and the multi-stakeholder engagement. So I will present you some of these in some detail. So the APNIC survey, we conducted that, and as the many people were there, we had a survey session on Wednesday, just before the Meet the EC cocktail. And then this survey report was presented by the Professor Am Penhua, who took the job for the analyzing the survey result. And then in the preparation of the survey, we conducted the focus groups, which was driven by John Earls, who has been taking care of a lot of issues in APNIC, and Anne Lord. Some of you remember that she is the previous APNIC staff. Then we had a quite big number of the response, 1,039 responses. Then the topics we identify as are for the external relationship, member feedback mechanism, training, policy, fund, accountability, and transparency. And then, okay, the last line is, as I said, Professor An kindly provided us the report. So the sum of finding from this survey, you will have the official communication from the Executive Council after this. But before that, I present something from that survey. We are so happy to have the really high positive rating for the APNIC service delivery. Once you had the survey report, you can find almost all rate is just positive, above the neutral, positive or very positive, and quite few rate are going to negative. Then service priorities, we have the resource restoration, because of course this is the core business of the APNIC as the regional internet registry. But not only that, we found a quite big priority from the membership and the stakeholders for training DNS and the DNS root server. Then we found the increasing demand and want for the cooperation and the community support. We actually having increased activity to support the NOGs, network operators groups, which we can find around 10 NOGs for the country to country. And we had the question to question about how to use our surplus. We actually enjoy the surplus, and then that is really impressive for me. And that say that the surplus funds should be going to the IPv6 promotion, training, project grants, and then lowering fees. So lowering fees is not not a top priority according to the survey, but the survey respondent say to us to do some more for the promotion or training. Then within that, as I said, we had quite positive rating for our service, but within that, we found that among that high rates, we found a bit not really high rating at the EC's satisfaction. Then EC satisfaction, that means what we found is that, for example, transparency of what we discussed, and the EC means kind of thing. Then still we are quite delighted to have the high rating for even for that segment, and that is actually 5 out of 7. But that's our EC's position to work on that, to have the membership and the stakeholders satisfied even for that segment of the evaluation. All right, finances. It has been pretty much covered by the Treasury report. So we actually enjoyed a quite strong membership growth, and then one of our guess for the reason for that is that due to last aid policy. And then that's really good for us to have the healthy surplus assisted by the strong membership growth. Then Executive Council is now reviewing the fee structure for 2015. At this stage, we don't see any need for the fee increase for the 2015. Instead of that, we are now considering the revision, reviewing the fee structure to adjust it to better service, and considering the small member and the startup fees, which sometimes we have the some compliant, a tiny compliance for that. So we are still considering about that. We are not at the stage to publish and announce something, but we will keep on working on that until the December, and then if we found it appropriate, we will announce we may announce some fee structure change. Then, as our treasurer James Spencer presented, we are reviewing the APNIC's activity calls to have the more transparency, how the revenue from the membership fee and some others is spent to what part of the activity, then that is what you will see in the future. Community engagement. I will be back in the podium in the later session for this part of the activity. The EC recognized the work of the GAC working group and the PPAC. That's actually quite a while when since the GAC government advisory group for APNIC was raised in APNIC conference. Then the idea of the having the GAC is actually turned into the activity of the PPAC, Public Policy Advisory Council. And then the PPAC has a couple of years of the activity, and the EC decided to propose to have the PPAC activity permanently as the standardized SIG. And for this SIG, we actually modeled after the RIPES Cooperation Working Group, which has been really successful to engage a lot of different segments of the stakeholders of the internet, including the government. Then we decided that in our Warsaw meeting, after we had the Cooperation Working Group of RIPE, then APNIC Executive Council proposed this time to have the PPAC evolved into the standardized SIG with the name of the corporation SIG. Then you will find what was happened in the both sessions this time to set up the newly established corporation SIG, which will be evolved from the PPAC. Accountability and transparency. This is one of the focal points that Executive Council need to work on. We actually have several activity around here. One of them is the NRO, RIL comparative matrix, which is for us to review our own accountability framework, and then it is really good to have the other examples from the other RILs. So that's comparable matrix is really good to see, good for you to see the difference among the RILs, and what then that will benefit in you to understand much more about much better about APNIC's accountability. Then second point is it is a pretty much secretariat's job, but we have I think this was presented in the secretariat report, but we have the newly set the transparency website web page in this URL. The transparency website is the quite exhaustive listing of the transparency mechanism which APNIC has. Then maybe this page will work for you to gain the comprehensive picture how the APNIC try to be transparent for the membership or other stakeholders. And as I said, the APNIC survey 2014, it's all about for us to improve the APNIC's activity. And another point is the IANA transition plan. So IANA transition plan, which is to consider the framework after NTIA of the U.S. government withdraw from its stewardship position for the IANA function. In that case, we will have our own stewardship mechanism, and many of them require us reinforced the scheme for the accountability even in RIR its own, then this is something we are working on in terms of the accountability and the transparency. All right. Policy endorsement. This is one of the executive council's job, and we have the one policy endorsed by executive council after the consensus from the policy SIG, which was Prop 109. Allocate 1.0.0.0/24 and 1.1.1.0/24 to APNIC labs as research prefixes. It reached to consensus in February meeting in Putarinjaya, APNIC 37, and then we endorsed this proposal as toward the implementation on April 23rd, 2014. It is by the electronic voting. Then another our job is the appointment of the NRONC member. As you know, we had the election this time for the NRONC member, and then Mr. Ajay Kumar was the successful candidate for that. And we select 2 members out of 3 by the membership election like that. And the other 1 out of 3 is actually to be appointed by the RIR board. In our case, the APNIC Executive Council. Then the current appointee for this position is Aftab Siddiqui for the 2014. But the council considered this time here in the Brisbane to ask him to assume the same job for the 2015, and he kindly accepted. Then he will be the appointee for this position at the NRONC from the APNIC region. Thank you very much, Aftab. Where's Aftab? Okay, there. Thank you very much for your service. All right, we have a lot of things to do in near future. In October 2014, survey review and response, and rest of the 2014. As you see, the IANA transition plan is have a lot of discussion. I was really happy to have the APNIC as the top batter for the discussion. Then this discussion will make some influence to the other RIRs. Then other RIRs discussion will be back to us to consider something to make our own proposal. So that is that requires a lot of work for us to do. Then December we will have the 2015 budget and the fee schedule review. And in 2015, review of the options for development area. What it does mean is that we are now seeking some extension of our activity in the development. And right now the training is done by our workforce, and then we have the ICIF, the development fund. But we seek a bit more extension for this kind of activity by having some kind of fundraising and the partnerships. That will come maybe in the next year for some piece of the progress. All right, then. Too bad. What is that? Okay. I don't do that. So, APNIC EC welcome feedback from members. So we have plenty of time for the open mic, the time slot for the AMM. So please don't hesitate to come up to the microphone and give us your positions, opinions, everything to us. Then APNIC Secretariat's job is, okay, let's put it in the another way. The APNIC is you. APNIC is of the membership. And then the Secretariat is working for you for the, our aim of the, operating the internet. So please, your voice are really valuable for us. Please do that. And another piece of the, sorry, very bad. All right. Yes, use this. All right. Much better. Sorry about that. Okay. There is another piece of the reinforcement of our accountability. We recently released the functionality at the MyAPNIC, which is called the EC submission. And then if you are a member, if you have the account at the MyAPNIC, you can find this EC submission page. And the member, the account holder for the MyAPNIC have this functionality to submit your comment in written form to us. Then that kind of submission will be considered by us. Then please don't hesitate. Please try this functionality to have us have your say. Then that's come to the end. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to answer your questions if you have. If not immediately, I will be still really happy to have your any comment or question in the open mic session. Thank you very much. Back to the MC. Next is our Deputy Director General Sanjaya will present the APNIC Focus Group and Survey Action Plan. This is, the survey is conducted by the Executive Council, and we are still on the process to communicate our perspective on the survey. But the Secretariat has their own view and more concrete idea to move it forward. Then that is to be presented by the Sanjaya. Thank you, Sanjaya. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we've received the survey report on Wednesday, but we actually also received the focus group report much earlier in May. So we actually built this action plan based on both input. And really, this is about responding to the survey. We've heard you. You've given your time to actually fill in this survey that is long. You take your time to actually attend the focus group meeting and tell us what you think APNIC could do better. And this is it. This is how we're going to collectively respond and make some action plans to deliver what you want. And this is not just the Secretariat, but also the EC needs to do something, and also yourself as the members. We hope to contribute in making this list of proposed action plan a success. So after looking at the survey and the focus group carefully, given the limited time that we have, of course, we noticed that there are actually 6 group of a theme in your feedback to us. And these themes revolves around values and fees, transparency, the way we communicate with you, the way we engage with the community, the way we deliver training and plan our training, and the way we deliver our services. So what I'm going to show next is what we think as the key messages we got from you, from the survey focus group, from this focus group and survey, and have a high-level action plan that delivers the biggest impact, basically. So this is not a detailed item of action item, but merely the overview of the group of action that we are going to do. So let's start with the member value and fees. What you said is review fees. It's number 4 on the priority list that was in the survey, but still some of us want us to review the fees, and actually some economies are having issues with the payment cycles, and that could be a bit difficult to meet. So the action is, as you probably have seen from Akinori's presentation and James, is the EC will conduct a fee review, and hopefully as a response to Aftab's question to James, which James has answered, we probably be able to see something next year. Payment cycles can be difficult to meet, and the action is we will do a thorough analysis of billing cycle impact and payment policies, payment options. So basically looking at a better way to receive money from you, and probably adding more shorter billing cycles or even longer billing cycles. So expect to see more changes along that line. On the transparency, what we heard you said was more visibility on strategy and planning, and more visibility on costs and resources that I believe Masato came up earlier to talk about this, and the new feedback mechanism would be welcome, and also a greater understanding of the EC work. On the visibility on strategy and planning, then the action is will provide an improved detailed activity-based plan as according to the structure that James has shown earlier, and we will publish our long-term strategy document as well. The detailed activity plan would look like this. So you should be able to see what activities, the name of the activities and why we're doing that, what will be deliverables, the outcome, how would it benefit the community, and how much resource will we allocate to this group of activities. So hopefully this will give you a much more transparency on where we spend the membership fund. So the resource, of course, have a detail of how many people will be working on that project, what's the expense, and what's the capital expenditures. Now, on and we're hoping to see the planning side of this beginning in the next meeting. So I do apologize to Masato and whoever who expected to see it in this meeting. It's actually quite hard for us to implement this because within a year, according to my business director, we have more than 10,000 transactions, financial transactions to process. And so rekeying all those transactions back to follow the structure that we have just planned was a bit hard. But what you hopefully will see in our next meeting is the plan for 2015. So you will have a much more transparent resource planning for the 2015 in February. So you will provide, you will be able to provide feedback for us to take into consideration for the rest of the year. So I hope next meeting would not be too late for you. All right, so on cost and resources, again, financial reporting based on the new plan. The new feedback mechanism, we have, as you can see, this week we had the Meet the EC event, so you're going to see that featured more on our conferences. We will always have a time slot where you can actually meet the EC. The EC direct submission system in MyAPNIC is now live. You can use it. And also, if you listen to George Kuo, our service director report on Thursday yesterday, we are working on an instant feedback project that was prototyped in this meeting. And for greater understanding of EC, I believe Akinori, as the chair, would consider the survey report in more detail and plan for further actions there. All right, in member services, what you said is, what's the plan? You want us to be more transparent on what services would come up in the future, so you can anticipate and provide feedback as well. You need better information on IPv4 address transfer. Apparently, some people still find that the information is a bit too complex, especially involving transfer from an interregional transfer from ARIN, for example, to an NIR member that involves a few, registry in the middle. You want us to improve the WHOIS usability, easier updates, and you want us to keep improving MyAPNIC as the self-service portal. The action is we will publish our service development roadmap that George Kuo has presented yesterday, and it will be available for you, including timelines, so then you can anticipate what change will there be in the future that you can then take advantage of. For the better information on transfers, we are now reviewing the available transfer information. Basically, this is more of a website work. We'll look at the transfer page and try to simplify it and guide you better in performing a transfer. In improving WHOIS usability, we actually, because we've seen this feedback, although highlighted in the survey, but also we have started seeing that even when we first saw the focus group report, we've started working and actually completed working on improving the WHOIS template. So as you can see, it will be much more easier because you will see less number of fields. We will only show the mandatory fields that you need to update if you need to update your WHOIS objects. And then there's also an interesting development on the WHOIS, the protocol itself, that the ITF is almost finalizing the RDEP specification that uses port 80 and more machine programmable output. So basically, you can produce better report or statistics out of this new interface. Keep improving MyAPNIC, then MyAPNIC development will be included in the services roadmap, so you will see what changes we're planning to do on MyAPNIC on the services roadmap. In the area of training, you said you would like to have training in languages other than English. Greater availability of training, particularly in terms of location and maybe online deliveries. And you want us to examine training fees. So to some economists, the training fees that APNIC provide is still a little bit steep. So some people have asked for us to look at the training fees. So the action on the language, we will assess the language requirements and delivery options. We may, well, of course, our staff can speak different languages, as you can see, but we may actually have to use more partnership in delivering our training language in other than English. But we will be focusing on more on the curriculum and then partner with people to deliver it in local language. Greater availability of training, we would do a survey, a training needs assessment in majority of our economies. And then we will know exactly what topics, what delivery mechanism that is best for you. And then we would then build our online and training location 2015 plan based on that. On examining the training fees, we will, as Akinori said, looking at a funding model. So as much as we can, if we can use different source rather than recovering it directly to our members, then that would be a win. But this is something that we can report to you further in 2015. Communications. You said you want us better and clear and simple communication. Some of us said English is okay, but could you please consider translations, particularly in two areas? One is in policy proposal, and the other one is in IPv6. So that's the feedback we got. And you also want us to increase IPv6 promotion and engagement. So the action is, we've got the new blog, so we will produce more articles that is clear and simple to understand. We will further simplify our website, so that would be a next focus after launching the blog. And the communications team would implement a policy that requires us to use simple English, no bureaucratic, long-winding statement. Just make it simple, which should be fine because, as you know, myself included, APNIC staff, we are not native English speaker, so we should be able to implement this new policy and speak to you in a simple English. Now, English. Now about the translation to the policy documents or policy proposals and the IPv6 promotions, we actually discussed about it yesterday in the policy SIG, and there's some ideas already flowing about how we get the community to help us on this in this area. So we are now looking at the translation options there. On increased IPv6 promotion and engagement, we will have a dedicated IPv6 initiative in the 2015 plan. You should see it in the next meeting on our plan, on our 2015 planning. And we will again look at the resourcing and see if we can find potential partnership for IPv6 promotion and engagement. In the area of community engagement, you said you want clarity on roles, activities, and resources. I think we heard you clearly in the last meeting as well in this meeting. You want to know, all this, what some of us call non-core activities, non-registry related services. We seem to be doing more and more of that. Let's be clear about what resources we're spending on that and be transparent about it, so you can then tell us if we, are spending it wisely or not. Focus on IPv6 education and security and stability. You also want us to support NOGs at the required level. So what we're hearing is NOGs have different maturity levels. Some have just started. Some, like GenOg, for example, is already very advanced. So we need to be able to engage them at their appropriate level. And you also want, when we start engaging the LEA, you want to know what are we doing there and be clear about the messages. So on clarity on roles, again, every event that we attend, there will be event reporting clearly that includes the benefits to the members, and again, more transparent resource planning based on the activities. On IPv6 education, we will update our IPv6 material. The labs will continue to research, focus on IPv6 and DNSSEC. And part of our training assessment is to assess the IPv6 training availability and see where we can fill the gaps. On supporting NOCs at required level, we will create a strategy and define clearer ownership of the NOCs, who would take charge of which NOCs, and we will definitely work on a better delivery of relevant technical topics on NOCs. So in the past, we've been focusing on providing APNIC updates. So in the future engagement with NOCs, we will actually be providing more content, technical content that is relevant to the day-to-day issues of the network operators. On LEA engagement, we will provide a detailed report of what we did with all those LEA meetings that we attended. Of course, because sometimes we attend meetings that has rules or confidentiality rules, so maybe it's limited on that area, but most of them are quite open, and we're happy to report in detail what message we heard and we delivered there. All right, so this is my last slide. So the next step is, you see, this proposed initiative is just the beginning. We will study the survey in more detail, and we'll keep updating activity list as we see, more opportunity to improve APNIC, and slot them into the 2015 and 2016 plan. What you've seen today will be, and whatever that we find later on, will be published on the website, and the action plan as well. And as we tick off or complete some of the action plan, we'll just start ticking it off and make sure that we cover everything, as much concern that you have given us as possible. And all of those will be published in January. So hopefully you will see a much more detailed activity plan on our website beginning on January. I'm done for now. So question and answer later.
Yep. No. If you have any question or comment, please come up to the microphone. Dean is coming. Dean.
So this was questions or comments relating to the presentation that we've just seen, correct? Yep, okay. Dean Pemberton, Internet NZ. I think it's really great that we spoke about simple English and communicating in simple English. And there was a bit of an idea that we've been throwing around since the last meeting, was when we think about the WHOIS and when we think about the MyAPNIC, there's possibly still a little bit too much content in there which isn't anywhere near plain English. And it's a whole lot of the stuff that that old grey-haired geeks like me understand. But as we have a membership that's just increasing like this, and whenever I go out and try and talk to members in developing economies, they don't understand, INET nums, ORT nums, all that sort of stuff, but they don't need to either. All they need to understand is this is the bit you put your name. This is an address. And if we could simple English the entire MyAPNIC site and hide the schema, they don't need to see the whole whois schema. They just need to see the bits that we need from them, and translate the actual interacting with the registry function into a simple English approach. Maybe have an advanced tab where old people can still go in and do that stuff. But I really think that would help the new section of members that we're picking
So the
up.
simple version, and then there's an advanced step.
Absolutely.
For people who want to go deeper.
And the
Yep.
advanced one
Thank
can
you.
look just like it does today.
Thank you.
No problem.
Masato.
I have some comments about the survey result, for survey result, not for this presentation. Can I say it in here or in open mic?
Just the survey result. Is it now or
Yeah.
later?
Survey result.
General comment on the survey result.
Yeah.
No, yes, now please. Okay.
Okay. So one question in survey was the external relationship. Which external relationship which APNIC should focus? And answer has a pretty high priority for global technical community and also regional technical community. I totally agree with that. But some organizations' names are listed up in that answers. But I think we also need to cover community about application area. For example, crowd service is emerging, and it consumes a lot of number of resources. But right now we don't have a contact with them quite often. I don't think so. So I think we also need to focus about that. That's my first comment. And another comment is in same question, relationship with law enforcement has quite low priority.
Yes.
But I think it's not correct because we are maintaining whose database for number resources. So we should have some interaction with law enforcement.
Yeah.
But people think that it doesn't. So I think what we should do right now is we need to promote more about why we should have interaction or cooperation with law enforcement. I think we need to promote that to members and also other stakeholders, I think. That's my second comment.
Sanjay, have any comment?
No, I think that's a good feedback for the next survey of adding the cloud provider, as a segment, so then we can see whether people actually want us to engage with them. But I think it's very similar to Huawei's feedback as well just now, this morning, right, where you actually said registrar or cloud provider or hosting companies. That community needs to be, we need to pay attention to them. Yes.
Can I just answer on a little more on law enforcement? It's something I think is not well understood, and although the engagement with law enforcement came quite low on the priority list in the survey, that could also reflect a lack of understanding about exactly what sort of engagement we're talking about. And we regard anyone who is doing a forensic investigation of any kind on IP addresses as a customer of whois. So they could be network engineers, they could be victims of spam or attacks or network failures, or they could be people who are trying to track the source of traffic. And so for law enforcement, they talk about attribution as a goal. They see some behaviour online, they try to find out who has caused that behaviour or who is responsible for it. So it's not so much that we are helping anyone in that kind of law enforcement activity. We're not. But we are interested in having those whois users understand what whois is good for and what it is not good for. What is the limit of, what is the opportunity and what is also the limitation of who is for attribution. And this comes down to not just how the database itself is structured and how you query it, but it comes down to issues like internet routing, aggregation of address space by ISPs, up and down the line, the role of NAT in that process and so on. So when we say law enforcement engagement, I think we're talking about a particular type of technical training for people who are, I think, important users of our services. And it's not, it is definitely not that we are engaging in law enforcement activities or going outside of the responsibility that I think we have for the correct use of services, of the public services that we provide. I hope that's a little bit clearer. Thanks.
Sunny Chandy from APNIC. Just a comment from for Masato's question on for cloud computing. We just started a dialogue with the Asia Cloud Computing Association, and we might see more interaction between us and them in the near future.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Sunny.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Sanjaya. Okay. I think this is the all for the report from the Secretariat and the Executive Council, and we will move on to the meeting reports throughout this week. The first of the segment is from Masato Yamanishi, who is the co-chair of the Policy SIG, who chaired this time the Policy SIG session. Thank you, Masato.
Thank you very much. I'm Masato, Policy SIG co-chair. As Akinori mentioned, Andy, who is chair of Policy SIG, cannot come to this meeting. So I worked as acting chair for this meeting. Okay. Then in this meeting, we considered one policy proposal, which is Prop 111. And also we had two community discussion. First one is a survey result discussion, because APNIC survey includes some questions quite specific for Policy SIG. So we have discussion about that. And another one is a community discussion about consensus. We also have 3 reports from the Secretariat. First one is a policy implementation status. And another one is we are updating, we are reorganizing policy documents. So second one is about that. And third one is an inter-RIR transport policy update. I will explain more details in later. And also we introduced a new consensus measurement tool as pilot. The name is CONFER. And actually we will use, I heard that we will use this system again in this afternoon. So you can play with this also. First one is a proposal 111, which proposed let me read this one. The objective of this proposal is to modify the eligibility for an organization to receive or extend an IPv6 address space up to /29 by explaining how the extended space up to /29 will be used. So it's slightly different from justification requirement, which currently we are using. Then the conclusion for this proposal in Policy C was we could not reach consensus this proposal since some issue was raised. First one is /29 is not nibble boundary, so it should be set to /28. But proposer and other people say /29 is too big, so it's rest of address space. So we cannot reach to consensus about that point. Also, another people said, even though this proposal covers for traditional allocation, which deserved /28 right now, and also it covers new applicant, but some people say we don't need to cover new applicant by this policy. So that's another point. And also we got a comment from the Secretariat which says, since the difference between current justification and this new proposal is not so clear, so it's a little bit difficult to implement. So we decide abandon this proposal. Then next is our survey results discussion. So we identified two barriers for further participation in policy SIG. The first one is a language, maybe a barrier to participation. Then we discussed this point a lot, and communities think simultaneous or document translation by professional translator may not help, even though it's quite expensive. So instead, active participants could translate and promote proposal within their domestic community. We think that is one possible solution, but we also need to consider other solutions. Also, survey said from non-members, there are quite many non-members who is not participating APNIC policy development process right now. That's another barrier which we identified. Then, but problem is the survey doesn't answer why they don't attend to the policy development process right now. So we need to better understand the reason. We may need to have more research about that point. Also, community said that promoting the PDP is a possible solution for this problem. So we will consider how we can promote more in future. So we will continue discussion on mailing list about these topics. Then another discussion was about consensus. Then we reviewed current descriptions about consensus in 3 documents: PDP, SIG guidelines, and SIG administration, right? And however, community doesn't think we need to update documents immediately. Rather, instead, we agreed that we need to promote our PDP for newcomers and also non-participants currently. So some ideas were raised in the discussion and also offline discussion after the sessions. And one of them producing videos about PDP. And another one is we already have flowchart showing policy development process on the website. So we can use more that, then that figure is pretty good figure. So we can use more that figure. And we also think other ideas on the mailing list. Then, we have 3 secretariat reports in this meeting. First one is our implementation status. So since last meeting, we implemented 3 proposals, Prop 110, 107, and 109. And also we very quickly reviewed single policy manual. Right now, we have, sorry, I cannot remember how many policy documents we have right now, but we have multiple documents. Then we are trying to combine these policies to single document. And Adam done this compiling. So editorial comment period will start from next week. Then, also I need to mention one more thing. Previously, only Adam was the secretariat in charging to policy SIG, but George Odagi, he's in charge of the help desk as daily his job, but he also helped Adam in the meeting, and also we provide backup if Adam is not available. Is George here? Okay. Anyway, so George joined the team. And this one is a third report from the Secretariat. LIPE NCC is discussing about new proposal, and that proposal means that one propose removing. Not removing. That propose inter-RIL transfer without justification. So if it will be approved, transfer from APNIC to LIPE doesn't need justification, because we certainly have transfer policy in APNIC, but since in this case, APNIC is sending side, so our condition for this kind of transfer is as defined as counterpart RIL's transfer policy. So many parts are defined by receiving side, and receiving side is LIPE, then it will not require justification if this proposal will be approved. And problem is we also have a transfer from APNIC to RIN, and also vice versa. But in that case, RIN has a policy which said transfer policy should be reciprocal, compatible, and need-based. Okay, so transfer in case of transfer from APNIC to between APNIC and RIN, we still have justification, but transfer from RIN and APNIC to LIPE may not need justification. So we are not sure how RIN community will think about that. So we need to observe feedback from RIN community. RIN will have a meeting in October, so maybe they will have some discussion about this point. So we need to observe that. And last one is a CONFER, which is a consensus measurement tool. And this one is actually developed by APNIC internally. And we measure the consensus by show of hand as a traditional way, and also used this one. And it works, technically, it works pretty well. And from chair's point of view, I think we want to add some features like right now, there's no way to figure out how many participants are there, but from chair's point of view, we should have some numbers. Otherwise, we cannot figure out this 20% means 5 people or 100 people. We cannot figure out that. And also, some people said we can add a feature which enable to participants to add some comments when choosing their options. So we can improve some points in future, but basically it works. Okay. And also about the result, when asking the consensus for the proposal, result was quite similar, but with show of hands. But when I asked whether we will abandon this policy or not, result was slightly different. Actually, result from this CONFER was a little bit negative. So I think that's one reason we need to introduce this system to keep anonymity during when asking the consensus. That's all of my report about policy.
Thank you. Skip.
Steve Stevens, Intelligo. Just what you're talking about with CONFER. You said it seems to work. I didn't think it worked very well. I wasn't that impressed with. I mean, I think it was very pretty. The numbers are extremely important. I found that clicking back and forwards between strongly support and strongly oppose just flipped the thing around, and it looked like there was 3 people on there. I think one of the things we haven't really thought about, which Masato made evident by the responses in the room to CONFER was it would, and I'm not sure how, but be really helpful what was an internal and an external vote, especially for the chairs. So Masato can look at the room and it's very different to that, but whether he's got two graphs based on the IP addresses, so if people are in here or something for the most part, then we can know, and if the votes in the room are very different to the hands in the room, then the chair should be going, what the hell's going on here? But if the votes are very different externally or that's influenced, then that can help the chair go, look very differently to what's happening out in the community. And maybe that's part of registration when you're logging on saying whether you're internal or external or remote participant or something like that. But one of my other comments was I wasn't particularly, I liked the graph and I thought actually it's really cool tech, but I'm not happy about the speed of which that you can play with it. If anything, I'd like to see that, because I was having fun just clicking the buttons and annoying people. But I'd like to see that locked down to something like, not changing for every 30 seconds or something like that. So that can't be easy manipulated. And the other thing is I didn't really like the live view in the sense that I was worried. Now, it's the same problem that we actually have at the moment. I can be sitting here and look over and go, oh, actually, Dean thinks that's a good idea, so I should think it's a good idea because I respect his opinion. I didn't like the fact that you could be influenced by the strength of it or weaknesses or something and going, well, I don't want to be a dissenter, so I will agree even though I don't really agree, and things like that. So I think that people should really make their decisions and maybe not be influenced by what is happening on this little spinny wheel that's going on, going, oh, and maybe I need to help out the strongly opposed, or that'll shift me from opposed to strongly opposed because the strongly is not doing so well. And I don't know if that's really very useful or and really helps out that census process, and especially the speed of which it's changing. If I was the chair, I'd be sitting there looking at it going, what the hell's going on? And when does it slow down? And also maybe even a timer, like, guys, you've got 60 seconds to do this. You're only going to be able to choose, do maybe even, whether it's a time frame or you've only got two choices. So if people can't play with it and constantly changing their mind, maybe you can change your mind once, which allows people to, because if you're changing your mind 27 times, like I was yesterday, just clicking it, then that's just going to skew the process. But if people knew they could only change their mind once, maybe they'll make a more serious opinion on the matter. That's just my thoughts on the CONFER.
Yeah, thank you. I think you raised many good comments. Thank you very much.
All right, Elvis, then followed by Dan.
Yeah, Elvis before escrow. Has APNIC thought about how it will basically, restrict registration or not restrict registration when we're talking here in the room or via email? We know who is the one voicing its opinion, but when we're talking about an automated system, I could just create 50 email addresses from 50 different ISPs or IP addresses or proxies or whatever, and I could just say, I'm influencing this policy that I really want to be approved or rejected by just acting on behalf of 50 different identities. And I find that this would be the biggest danger, because I could basically create multiple identities and run subscripts to be able to vote at the right moment, all remotely, right? So I could remotely influence any policy decision. That was one of the things. And the second thing is, of course, when we discuss over email or here in the room, all of us will explain why we agree or oppose to something, or will try our best to do it. When you do it with an automated system, that whole thing goes away. You will just have buttons and colors, and you won't be able to talk to the people opposing to or supporting to understand why this is going on like this. So those were my 2 comments. And plus, I agree with most of what Skip has said as well. It's a system where the live thing should not influence people. And I think once you've decided, you should have a time limit until your decision is final, or something like that.
Okay, regarding the first point, since PDP says our policy development process is open to everybody, so we need to consider the balance between openness and also, yes, so also the mitigating cheating.
When we're in the...
But that's not a problem only for this system. Even though we ask consensus by show of hand, you can go to the street and hire 50 high school students and bring them in, then raise their hand.
True, correct.
You can manipulate.
But then those 50 people are here seen by everyone else.
So point is, PDP said, yeah, that's my point. PDP said asking consensus is not voting. Actually, chair need to consider who answered what, right? So it's related with the second point also. Then, yes, that's chair's responsibility. Figure out who opposed and why they opposed.
Yeah.
That's the chair's responsibility, I think.
All right, thank you. I have the queue of the Dean, Izumi, Tomohiro, and Paul Wilson in the queue. Dean.
Dean Pemberton, Internet NZ. I agree with almost none of what Steve said. I really liked it, and I thought it added another dimension to an environment within the policy SIG, which over time has been becoming more and more insular. And what we've seen is over successive meetings that we have a smaller and smaller percentage of the community here giving their opinion on what is sometimes very important matters. And I think anything that we can do to engage a larger section of the community is really important. It's been said a couple of times that we need to see numbers here so that we know what the votes are. I don't think that's important at all, because they aren't votes. This is consensus. This is very much how much of the total people here oppose, how much support. It's not actually about numbers. And to me, as someone who proposes policies, and I'm imagining that I'm up on stage, it doesn't matter. It matters about the proportions, not the numbers. Did you have a comment before I carry on?
Regarding the number of oppose or the support, current idea is just showing those number only for chairs, not for everybody.
Yep, that's
because
good.
Without that number, chairs cannot figure out well. But I also agree, if we will show that number to the community, it looks like voting.
It looks like voting. You're right. And so my other point was that a lot of people have been concerned about the speed of change. Well, with the exception of people not taking it seriously and changing their votes every 5 minutes, I didn't mind that either, because I think part of the community consensus is the ability for you to change your opinion. And what is more useful within the SIG, to have the author presenting and to have the questions from the floor and actually to change people's opinions. People who may be, strongly opposed, and through the process of talking through this, they do move their opinion. Now, they might not move it from strongly opposed to strongly support in one movement. They may go through 3 or 4 different movements. But that is important, and it's important to see that. It's also important to see it happening. People should be able to look at it and think, well, yes, if other people are swinging, maybe I need to see more here. People that are stuck in their opinions aren't going to move, and that's fine. But I actually like those. The only other thought that I had was that I think there is something to the idea that if you want to strongly support something or strongly oppose something, the chairs may find it useful to see a short reason, like a small one-line reason. So you can click on neutral, no problem. You can click on support, opposed, no problem. The minute you want to click on one of those strong opinions, little box comes up, type in one sentence as to why, and then the chairs can see for the outlying opinions, the ones that they have to take the most notice of, a short list of why people hold those opinions, and that seemed to me to be useful.
Okay, regarding that last point, yeah, reason why they strongly oppose is very helpful for chair. That's my comment from chair's point of view.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Izumi, I think Dean has really covered most of the points I actually wanted to raise, but I want to especially highlight the point about, I think it's okay that people change their mind, and I would actually prefer to have it shown live, because this is not a private voting. So it's important that we actually communicate together as the community, and it's not like you have to keep your own opinion. If others, a lot of strong support or strong concerns, and it's natural for people to think, okay, if a couple of people are concerned about it, I might change my mind a little bit. And I think it's better for this function to be available rather than having it closed. And so I think I do empathize with people changing their minds on what would be the final decision. So to address this point, maybe have a fixed point in time. Okay, we're going to close the vote in maybe 10 seconds or something. Yes. And after certain, we're going to close the decision making consensus call in 10 seconds. So please make up your mind. And then after this point, it's, this is final.
Yeah, that is also my request for that system. Otherwise, we cannot keep the result.
All right. Thank you. Fujisaki-san.
Yeah. Tomohiro Fujisaki. And feedback from the first examinee trialist or the first presenter with the CONFER. So first point is, as a presenter, I want to know why the show hand result and the CONFER result is different. So just from a proposal, I think many proposals have the same opinion that want to know the reason of the difference from 2 points. And the second point is just repeat the opinion is the Elvis and the Tinja, and also as a proposal, I want to know the reason why the people opposed or strongly opposed with the proposal. So, but I think to make some box to write a reason, write the barrier to vote or to feedback. So it's difficult how to get the opinion. But maybe as a proposer, I think proposer want to know the reason why people oppose the proposal to revise or to improve the proposal. Yep, thank you.
What? No. I will do it at the end.
All right, thank you. Next, okay, I have the queue of the Paul, Ski, and Naresh. You on the queue? All right, Paul.
Thank you. Just a couple of comments from the Secretariat, because we did implement this, and I just want to make it clear that we had no intention but to create what could be a useful tool. The beauty of having done it ourselves is that we also have a lot of flexibility in how it works, and so we made some decisions about anonymity, about the count, the visibility of the count, who would get to see the chart and the numbers and the names and so on, and all of these things can be changed. So let's just keep an open mind about how we might actually adapt this, because we can do many things with it. We could also provide options so that the count may or may not be displayed, according to what the chair or the group decides and who gets to see it and so on. So let's just keep an open mind, and please understand that the Secretariat was not attempting to push a particular implementation at all, but just simply to demonstrate. I wanted just to respond and reinforce something that Izumi said, because one thing is how the tool works, but the other is how it is used and how we agree to use it. And I've seen consensus processes in place where, for instance, someone who is strongly opposing is essentially, we might agree this, but someone who is strongly opposing is effectively kind of blocking consensus. And in some situations, you would never declare consensus if anyone remains who strongly opposes. That's one option, and it's one way of considering consensus. But if that's the case, then it normally would come with a very strong obligation on someone who is blocking consensus to really explain why and to be understood. So again, I think a one-liner, as was suggested, may not be sufficient. But again, this is something for the chair to decide, and if the chair is looking at the chart that's in front of us now, then they could easily say, well, I see we have some strong opposition, and I would like to hear from those who have who've expressed that view what their position is. So again, it's something that could be very flexible, very much in the hands of the chair, whether, when and how to use it, and also with the consent of the group as well. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Skeeve.
Skeeve Stevens, Intelligo. I just wanted to clarify my position on the changing of the decisions that people were making on the consensus tool. There were some examples said by Dean and Izumi which didn't fall into practice of what we were using the tool for. We weren't using the tool was being used for specific questions by the chair. That's not a time where you're constantly changing your mind and the opinion's evolving. If there was a confer question at the start of a presentation, and during the presentation you were changing your mind, that makes sense. But when the chair sits there and goes, do you agree on this matter, that's a decision point, not an influencing point at a time when you're thinking about what you're doing and, oh, should I agree, should I not agree? That's when you actually, you sort of make your mind, because there was no more presentations. I mean, there is some maybe follow-up questions to the presenter and so forth. But I do like very much what Izumi said, where I don't really care what's happening up till a point. But at some point where the chair can go, final choice, and the people have got their seconds to do it. It doesn't really matter. But if you're going to let people make a sort of using this tool, I don't really understand how you would do that, because you don't know what the questions are a lot of the time until the end of the presentation. So, and to be honest, God forbid that you actually allow this tool during a presentation, because if I was presenting a proposal and I could see things happening in the background and people getting very upset or strongly opposing things while I'm trying to give this presentation or strongly supporting that, halfway through I might just go, screw it, and leave. And you don't want to do that. And that would be a really bad thing. So people shouldn't be really, and I also found that some of the comments are a little bit odd in that people want to change their minds. They can use their brains instead of their mouse clicking. And they don't have to be sitting there going, oh, maybe I want to click strongly support or neutral, and be clicking those. They could actually just think about it before they push the button, and rather than pushing it 27 times. So I do like an idea of the lock-off period where, okay, everybody, this is your final decision. You can play with it all you want up into a certain point. And that way people aren't right at the last second just really throwing the chairs off by flipping around, changing everything. I mean, it's a matter of sort of opinion about the live thing, and Dean likes it. I thought it was very pretty, and I actually found it interesting. I'm just not sure of the value of it in influencing what everyone else is doing based on the shift of it. That's basically what I want to say about that. Yeah.
All right. Naresh.
Naresh Ajwani. Many a times we have done the analysis of social market behavior of consumers, people, etc. and all. And thus we know there are laggards, there are early movers, there are followers, there are leaders. I think our response to this entire debate has to be from that perspective, that there are people who would like to see who all had raised hands. There are people who would like to follow their friends. There are people who would like to oppose the ones who may be just only with a perspective of opposing. So there has to be various kind of behavior and reaction, and we have to accept every behavior and every reaction. In no way any of the behavior, whether late or early, has got something to do with a approach of destabilizing anybody's proposal. I must admit here that with yesterday's entire approach and a pressure, my friend Tomohiro has really got under this impression that somewhere raising hands and CONFER didn't correlate. And I must acknowledge, yes, because I did it. I did raise my hand, and when I wanted to do it in terms of CONFER, I was not having my laptop. I was not having my access. So those inabilities would be there. But my limited point is, we can't conclude or arrive at something which has been technologically an example for the rest of the world, that it may not work because the time period is not fixed. So my request would be, there should be sufficient time. There would be many such kind of situations where that, ring will move like a giant wheel, and at times it will be funny, but yes, this is the best way we can arrive at consensus. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Not only Naresh, but also everybody gave very useful comment. And this CONFER will be still pilot in next couple of meetings. So we will improve. We will improve points which. We will improve those points. Thank you very much. And also, I forget to mention 3 points. Sorry. And first one is actually my original term is ending at this meeting, but I was only one nominee for co-chair position, so I was re-elected in this meeting. So I will serve 2 more years. And also now we have George in this room. Can you stand up, George? He is George Odagi and will now helping Adam as a secretariat. And third point is, as I said, can you show slide about CONFER? Last slide in my presentation. Yeah, as I said, we will use CONFER again in afternoon AMM. Then this system requires registration. It's very simple registration, just name and mail address and nickname, which will be showed on the system. So please register yourself if you have not yet. Then URL is confer.apnic.net. It's very simple. And thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. And thank you very much for the Masato's service and the congratulations for the reappointment. Okay, this is already the time for the lunch, but not to delay too much, I'd like to have the all SIG report done in the morning session. Then I will invite Toshio Tachibana, the chair of the NRSIG, to deliver you the NRSIG report. Thank you, Toshio.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Toshio Tachibana. I'm very happy to be here. My birthday today, so anyway. Thank you. Could you show the slide? Thank you. Okay, I report from the NRSIG report. I'm a chair of the NRSIG. Also, we have 2 co-chairs, Jessica and AJ is here. Okay, and you already know the charter and the mailing list. So we had a session on the Tuesday in the morning. We have more than 40 people coming to our session. Thank you for participating for the NRC session. Action item is that we have a no action item at this time. So, NIR report from the 7 NIR. That means all NIR coming to this session, also the present. Congratulations for the, I'm very happy for the all NIR presented in the session. Thank you very much. Also the presenter is here. So I explain about the summary of the each presentation. Okay, CNIC reported about some activity. So such as CNIC SSL certificate program launched. Also they have a lot of members, more than the 600 IP members. Also there, including the cloud computing provider is very, very increasing. So TWNIC reporting about they hold the 22nd open policy meeting. So they also publish the Taiwan ISP yearbook for the 2013. IRENE reported about the increase the 400 affiliates since the December last year. Also, they also adopt the IPv4 and the AS number transfer policy, same like as the APNIC policy. And they hold the IPv6 training for the members the multiple times or something. VNIC, so hold a member meeting on the last July. Participated, more than 100 people participated. Then NIR, they will the contract sign for the NIR agreement during this week. So they launched the new HQ office at nearby Hanoi. So JPNIC explained about their activity. They are forming conference or they involved other stakeholders into the internet governance related topics discussions. Such name is the Internet Governance Conference Japan, IGCJ. Then in the technical topics is the RPKI implement effort. KRNIC published the IPv6 roadmap document. That for the adopting IPv6, increasing their countries. Then start tax reduction for support adopting IPv6. IPv4 address transfer policy is not implemented yet. And you already know some reported from Secretariat to the who has policy IPv4 transfer or not, and probably the matrix showed there by the Secretariat. Finally, IDNIC conducted the Indonesia Internet User Research 2013. Also, the hold training classes in the 4 cities where the Yogyakarta or Medan and so on. 50 members received additional /22 IPv6 address after Prop 105 implemented. Okay, that's all from me. See you next session in Fukuoka. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Toshio. Okay, that concludes the morning session. Then I directly invite Sunny Chenley for the housekeeping notice before lunch.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. We have an online survey now published on APNIC 38 website. We appreciate if you can complete it today, please. Your opinion is very important for us to deliver the most valuable experience for you at the APNIC conferences in future. So take some time. It's right on the left-hand side there, survey button. If you can just click and complete before you leave the conference today. That would be much appreciated. And also, yesterday we did Member Services Lounge prize draw. We did one. We still have 2 more to give away. So we will do it now. I request one of the EC member, or should I name the EC member to maybe Kenny? Would you like to draw, please?
From here? Only one do that. It's a very big ball. Do you want to read it?
You can read it.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. On the email, I announced the email address is schhahu, schhabu@gmail.com. Is anyone here?
There's no name on it, but
Yeah,
it's
only
email ID on that.
Right.
Or does the member services staff know who this person is? Is it Chabilal? Should we keep this and you guys send it, or?
Sunny, that would be the person who may have completed the instant feedback system. So we'll post the gift to him.
Okay, so we keep this?
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you. So
Done?
one more?
One more. I should that's the name. Okay. Because a lot of individual character are starting from beginning. RPDC Kashuya, Kaushallya. Is he here? Okay, right. Congratulations. Which one to keep?
I'll keep that one, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks, Kenny. So now we can break for lunch. As I said, the lunch will be in the next door room in Lincoln Room. See you back at 2 o'clock. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch. We will resume the